These are both built with Claude Design, same prompt, same model, one of them is shippable, the other one honestly looks worse than a template. There's a word for what most designers are doing right now with AI tools, it's called vibe designing, building websites with prompting your way through without a system underneath. And it's why a lot of AI websites on the internet look the same. So here's the experiment. I found a real business in Austria with a website that's holding them back. Fitfabrik, 13 gym locations across the country with real revenue, but their site looks like it was built in 2016. I'm going to try to vibe design them a new one with just Claude Design. If it works, great. If it doesn't, we'll try something more advanced. Let's see what Claude Design does with it.
So let's not waste any time. I'm heading to Claude AI/design, and in here we're gonna create a first try for the project. Over here in the prototype panel, I'm just typing in the name Fitfabrik, and we don't need to use the design system right now because we're gonna try it without one at the moment. And I'm just gonna open this creation panel, and in here I'm pasting the prompt that I've already prepared to build a modern homepage for Fitfabrik, a fitness chain in Austria. And I'm setting the language to English so you can also understand what the copy is saying. But this is the basic prompt, and we can also change the model here because this is available right now. And I'm just gonna hit send. And this is obviously gonna take a while, so I'm just gonna fast forward this bit. In reality, this took quite a while, as often does with Claude Design. So this took like 10 minutes. But now it's finished, and let's see what it came up with. And so I think the first draft is quite interesting, but also honestly a bit generic for my taste. We have here placeholders for the images, there's this big pricing section, and it lists all the locations, which is fine, I guess. And here at the bottom there's the CTA, but all in all it's super generic. The colors doesn't really make sense in my opinion. It gives us a few variations for the hero, so we can change it over here. But let's try to expand this site a little bit, because most sites on the internet aren't just one page. And if we go to the studio section, it's a little bit small. So I could try and make like a locations page that the user can find all the different gym locations. And I'm pasting in the prompt, create a locations page for the gym, showing there 13 gyms across Vienna. And I think this will be a great test to actually see if this site can scale or if there's a problem. So now that we have it, let's quickly go through and see what we have now. So basically it listed all the locations in this list, which is kind of fine. The layout is a little bit weird in the headings, but okay, we probably can fix this. But all in all, we basically have the locations page. Upon looking a little bit closer, I actually found a big problem with Claude Design that I'm going to show you. When I hit edit here and I check the font size, let's remember that this is 74 pixels and this down here is 52 pixels. And so when I go to the locations page, it's actually, let's look at this, it's actually not 74 pixels, but 72 pixels, which is a little bit different, which is very weird. And also this is not 52, but 40 pixels. And even if we go to the smaller headlines, we see that these are also not really correct. And I think this goes to show that Claude Design isn't really up there for scalable websites yet. And I think the problem is we jumped immediately into the design and we didn't build any design system. So let's try something else. And for this, I'm just going to relume.io, which basically lets us build our design system, go to the website, hit launch, and we're basically gonna start a new project over here. And in this panel over here on the left side, I'm just gonna paste in the full prompt, which also includes a little bit more of the in-depth information. For example, what we offer, also the target audience a little bit, and also the full scope of the website, like the full 5 sites. And I'm just gonna change it to English, so it generates in English again, hit generate, and already the wireframes are done, which took maybe like 5 seconds or something. And we can check everything here, but for my first view, it looks fine. We can go over to the top here to wireframes, and it will basically build out our full size structure into wireframes, which also takes only a few seconds, but I'm gonna fast forward this a little bit. But basically over here, we can now build out the sections and adapt everything to our liking. So let's go over it really quickly and see if we want to change anything. So the most important is anyway the hero section. So I'm thinking we change it to something a little bit different, something more immersive, or something like this maybe, for example. I can imagine this also with a background video, and what I also want to do is change the navigation on the top to have like this floating navigation, which looks a little bit more modern than what they currently have. And so I think this is fine anyway. We just want to build the design system. So we go over here in the top to the style guide. And this is actually the main part where we can set all the styles that we later want to use in Claude Design. So this is really important. So their current green is kind of muddy and it reads a bit dated. So I'm swapping it for this brighter lime color because a gym is basically selling energy and movement, and this just feels more alive, I think. And it also works better against a dark background. I'm also taking the navigation dark instead of the light one. I think it frames everything better and it makes the lime accent even louder. And honestly, it just reads more premium, which is the whole point of why we are rebuilding this. For the headings, I'm going bold uppercase. I think it feels more athletic and it has that intensity you basically want for a gym. But uppercase is, of course, terrible to read in a longer text. So the body is man robe, which is something clean and neutral that just gets out of the way. High energy where you want impact, but calm where people actually need to read. For the cards, I'm keeping the corners a little bit tighter, a bit sharper. Soft rounded corners read friendly, kind of wellness-like, but that's not this brand. And I think sharper edges feel actually stronger and a bit more serious, and that matches what a gym is actually about. The rest of this is basically just fine-tuning, picking button shapes, swapping in the real images, that kind of thing. The point is that every one of these choices is locked into the design system now, so it carries across every page instead of me redeciding it each time. So now everything's done. I've replaced all the images. I think it looks quite cool already, and I'd say we are quite happy with what we have so far, and we can already bring this into Claude Design. And so how do we actually do this? Over here at the top, we have the export panel and we can export it to a number of different tools and places basically. But I'm just gonna hit export to Claude Design basically, and it gives us a little information. We can download the zip file in here. That basically gives us the folder that we're gonna paste into Claude Design. And so everything's done here in Relume itself. So we go back to Claude Design. I'm gonna go outside of the project really quick. And over here at this tab menu, we're gonna go to Design Systems and create a new one. And in here, basically, we can give a lot of context, but as we already have the design system from Relume, I'm just gonna link it here. And we're gonna upload the whole folder. So Claude Design has all the context it needs, which is already a lot. And I'm just gonna paste in the name here also of the company, because this is kind of required to set up the design system. And once we've done that, I think we're just gonna go to the bottom again, to the very bottom, and we paste in the full prompt that we've used also before. So we are definitely sure that Claude has all the context required, and then I'm just gonna hit continue, and we basically hit generate, which takes quite a while. So if you try this out yourself and it feels like it's taking forever, don't worry, because it typically takes a long time. And now we basically already have the design system that we can go through. And this is super in-depth, like it has thought of a lot of different use cases and different components. And so if we scroll through here, we have all the text and explanations, but what is interesting for me is more the visual stuff. Okay, it has given us our photos that we already uploaded, so that's not super interesting, but it has created a color palette, all the primary colors, also these little drop-down components like a form. And here what is interesting, it has given us a little glimpse of the website. And I think it has already quite improved it a little bit from what we gave it, like added a little bit of the details and also the images, of course. And I think it did a really good first job in creating this design system that if this were a real client project would be super helpful, because we can all the time come back to this design system and we have defined everything, which is just super convenient. And so now let's take this a step further and actually create the website. I'm gonna go back out to the Claude Design interface and go again to the design systems, because we need to publish this one. And I'm just gonna hit this toggle, and now it's published and we can actually select it for a project. And so then let's go over here to the left side as we did in the very beginning and create another FitFabrik website. But this time we're gonna select the design system for FitFabrik that we just created. And we can preview it, but we don't need to do that right now because we've just seen it. I'm gonna hit create, and it's gonna bring us again to this interface, and we can once again bring in the full prompt. I'm gonna change this to English again and attach the logo so it actually has the correct logo and not just a placeholder. Add this to the prompt and I'm just gonna hit create. And now we are already getting some feedback here and we need to provide a little bit more context. And the first one is about the logo because obviously we used a different color for the logo. And I'm just gonna paste this into Figma and change the colors manually. So first we need to vectorize this because it's just a PNG. And I'm just gonna vectorize this in Figma, change the colors here to a dark black, and also gonna paste my original green color that I used in the prototype. So this is like this bright lime color, and very simple, just export this again and we can use it in Claude Design. So it actually has the correct logo with the correct color. So let's see what else questions there are. How should the logo appear? I think we just let it decide for us. And also for the photography, we use stock photos that we have. And for the variations, I think it would be nice if it gives us a little bit of 2 to 3 variations. And how it should be delivered is in a single website that we can click through. And also we're gonna just use the standard euro denominations. And so let's hit generate and see what it comes up with again. I think this is one of the most interesting steps so far because we've given it all the context, all the design systems and the correct logo and everything. So right now we just need Claude Design to do its job. And now it's already done again. It gives us a few hero variations that we can click through, but I think actually the first one is the best. And the navigation looks a little bit off, especially when it's at the very top, but we can fix this obviously. And it's given us this little tweak panel where we can change the accent color and also change this photo darkness, which I think is nice. And these tweak panels are a really great hack to like fine adjust your website. And basically all the sections are pretty much exactly like we had it in the design system, which is good that it didn't drift or anything from the design system. We can go through the sites. We have these classes and training, which lists different training types and gives a little bit of the features, but it's a little bit basic. Then we have this membership site where you have all the pricing, which looks quite cool, I think. This is definitely more of one of the more interesting aspects. And then we have a testimonial in here, that's fine. We can go through the locations and it lists everything based on the region, which is quite okay. And then we have the contact form, which isn't that great to be honest, because it has very bad contrast, but we can fix this. And I think these main issues we're just gonna fix right now, so we see that it can actually do this also. So a few things that we need to change is the nav. It looks quite weird, it's too high, and it also like the line breaks are weird with the classes and training, so we're gonna fix this. And yeah. Also here, like the padding is a little bit weird in this section because the eyebrow is just on the top of the section, so we need to fix this. And also I think one more was the contact form. So it has very bad contrast. You don't really see the fields that you need to click on. So we need to adapt this. I'm just gonna hit continue. And right now I'm already seeing that the nav is being fixed, so like we wanted to. Also the classes and training is fixed, the line break. And also the classes and training, the section padding is fixed, that is good. And also the contact form contrast is quite better right now, so I think we did a good job in here. And I think one more thing that I would really like to add here is a little background video. So this way it's way less static, and I think it's just a little wow effect that we can add for a gym here. And I already have a video that we can use for this demo. So I'm just gonna paste this in here. And obviously I'm also gonna add a little prompt here to basically tell it to change the image to the video. But I'm really thinking this background video could be a very nice choice, especially for a gym, to make it more immersive and to make it more, just a little bit more special. And now it's done, it has changed it to the background video. And I think this just looks so much nicer, especially when you come to the website for the first time. And it really has this high energy design, and with the background video it just looks a little bit better. And so let's go through the whole website once again. So we start here with the hero. We have like this little section and it basically explains what they offer, what the members say with the testimonials, a call to action. And it just goes to show that if you really take the time and really hone down your design system with something like Relume, you can get a really, really good result that is actually super consistent with your brand design, And I think that's definitely one of the biggest challenges with AI, that you get consistent design output. And so if we go back and compare the two versions, the one without a design system and the one with the design system and Relume, we just see that the one on the left looks very generic. I think it just looks a very first draft, and the one on the right looks a lot more fleshed out and a lot more consistent. It just feels like a complete brand experience instead of just like a wipe coded site, basically.
Claude Design generates interesting stuff, but what it generates is only as good as the system it's building on. Without a system, you get the default AI look, and with one, you get your brand. Wipe coding works for engineers because of tools and patterns. Wipe designing only works with the same thing, a design system. Relume's link is in the description. Try it on your next project.